Hey everyone, I'm Reynald Adolphe, and in this session, I want to share a few gems about VS Code that many don't know. Now, there's two parts of this session. The first is branch management. By using VS Code's UI for Git commands, thereby avoiding the terminal, but I'll show you how to see how VS Code execute Git commands behind the scenes. Now, part two will be about documentation in VS Code. That is how it often is used for document management in private repositories. But let's start with branch management with some common commands back to back. Two common commands to create a branch include git branch and git checkout. Git checkout -b followed by the branch name creates and checks out a new branch, while git branch followed by the branch name creates a new branch but leaves you on your current branch. So let's see what command Visual Studio Code uses when we use its UI to create a branch. Now here I have an index.html file that I've already staged and committed. And on the bottom left-hand corner, you can see that we're currently on our main branch. But to create a branch, I will simply hit the shortcut Shift Command P here since I'm on a Mac, and I will choose Create Branch. I'll give it the name Staging Branch. And let's create another one called Testing Branch. And to see what Visual Studio Code did on the back end, if we check the Git output, we could see on the first line, Git checkout was used to create staging branch, and a little later on, it was used again to create testing branch. When you're using Git, in order to list your branches, the git branch command is used. But with VS Code, in order to list the branches that we're working with, all we need to do is click on the bottom left-hand corner, the current branch that you're on, and then on the top of the screen, you'll get a list of our local branches. In order to switch between branches, two commands that can be used include git switch followed by the branch name, and also git checkout followed by the branch name. In terms of switching branches, both are effective, but I do encourage you to check out the official Git documentation for the history of these two commands, which is beyond the scope of this demo. But to see how to switch between branches in VS Code, all we need to do is hop onto the bottom left-hand corner where our current branch is. And right now we are on the testing branch. If we wanted to go to staging branch, just select it at the top of the screen. And now you see that staging branch is what's current. And if we scroll up to the beginning of the Git output, you see that git checkout was used to switch to staging branch. In order to rename a branch, we use the git branch command followed by -m and then the branch name. In VS Code, all we need to do is use our shortcut, Shift Command P, select Rename Branch, and let's rename this to Staging 2 Branch. And if we hop on over to our output, we could see that on the first line, git branch was used in order to rename our branch. When deleting a branch in Git, the command that we use is git branch followed by a -d and the branch name. Now in Visual Studio Code, if we wanted to, let's say, delete this branch here called staging 2-branch, which is really not a great name, we can switch over to another branch. And then, using the command palette, we have an option to delete a branch. And at this point, I can select staging 2 branch. And if we look at our Git output, you can see on the first line, the git branch command was executed. Pretty cool, hey? Now, the other gem that I wanted to share was about document management. And this could be for simple instructions, keeping code snippets, or detailed API documentation. Let's check it out. Documenting in VS Code is straightforward using Markdown language, which is a lightweight markup language to add formatting to text. There are alternatives, but we'll use Markdown for this demo. So to learn more, you can check out this site here. Right now I have an opened blank folder, so let's create a document for reminders like a shopping list amongst other pieces of information. So I'll go ahead and get started here by creating a file called reminder.md for Markdown, and Visual Studio will recognize that it's Markdown, as you can see on the bottom right hand corner. And you'll see why some people love this, because it's almost like writing HTML but in a much simpler fashion. So for example, if you wanted to write a header that said shopping list, you just use the # followed by shopping list. And to preview what you're seeing, just hit Command K, let go of the keys, and press the letter V. Now if I wanted to add a second header, a subheading like H2 for items, I just do 2 $. So look at how easy that is. If I wanted to do a numbered list, just type in 1, and my first item will be a laptop, 2, a big mouse, and 3, an SSD hard drive. Let's say I wanted to add an image. I could add that to the root of my folder. We'll close out this view here. And to add the image, all I need to do is drag it and hold the Shift key, and that will allow me to specify where I want it within my code and drop it. And it automatically puts the right formatting to display the image. So now you could already get a sense of how easy it is to create detailed documentation in a nice formatted way. Let's say I wanted to add some JavaScript code. If I paste that in, that doesn't look very nice, right? But if we add 3 ticks and then specify the language like JS here, now it recognizes it. And then all we need to do is close with another 3 ticks where your code ends. And if we scroll down a little bit, we can see how nicely formatted that is. So now let's say you're inputting a lot of documentation together and it needs to be in multiple pages. Well, you'll probably want to have links that navigates from one page to another. So to create a link, all you need to do is add the description of your link within brackets like this. Link to more info in this readme.md, and then the destination of the page. So it's going to point to another file called readme.md. And as you can see, there's the link. So I don't have that page in my folder yet. So let me go ahead and just drop that in. I'll close this automatic view that popped up. And now if I go and click on the link, it brings up the page. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at the contents of it in a full view. After closing those windows, I could do Command K, V. And if we glance down here, we can see all the different syntax that's required to get the results that you see on the right hand side, such as block quotes, lists, be it unordered or ordered, code, which we already went over, tables, etc. So by looking at this, you can see how detailed and neat documentation can be with all of these different ways of formatting, and the learning curve is extremely low. And that's really nice. So now if I'd like to publish this, I can go ahead and click on source control on the right hand side, choose initialize repository. I'll enter in first commit. I didn't stage, so it's prompting me if I want to stage. I'll say yes and hit publish, and I will save this to a private repository called mygitproject_c. And if we take a look at it, we'll see the results. And if I were to go to my reminder doc, scroll down, I could see our original document that we put together with our code and our link, which works here also. Now you just saw that I had to commit, stage, and push my content after I was done. But if I'm working with a lot of document, I might not want to have to remember to keep doing that over and over. So this is where an extension like GitDoc comes into play, which is an extension that automatically commits, push, pulls changes on save, almost like you were in a Word document. So whenever you hit save, it will push and commit for you. Now it does this every 30 seconds or so, which you can modify. So let me first make sure that it is enabled. I'll hit Shift Command P and I see Git doc. It was cached, so it shows it right away. It is enabled. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to really big mouse and hit save. And on source control, it should now commit for me within a few seconds. And there it goes. So now if we go ahead and check on GitHub and refresh our screen, it should change from a big mouse to really big mouse for number 2. So there's a lot more to Git doc that you can review and experiment with, like these features mentioned here. But there's also a host of other extensions that are specifically designed for document management, like Dendron, Mintlify, Foam, and more. So go ahead and check them out and get a feel for what you prefer. So one last thing I'd like to show you is how you can access your project using Visual Studio Code online. That's vscode.dev by opening up a remote repository and specifying your URL here. Or in my case, I was already just in here, so I can just select it from recently opened. And now I can come here and make whatever changes that I want. If I wanted to change this to very fast laptop, I'll just come here to source control, make sure I stage my changes, and I'll type in second commit, click the check to accept, and if we come here to check my changes, very fast laptop is displayed. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed this session and enjoy the rest of the conference.